I was introduced to Mike and Betty LaFontaine and this remarkable project by a longtime friend of mine and a fellow filmmaker by the name of Yuri Sanada. Yuri and I were working on some projects in Brazil, and years later he called me and said he just got back from a voyage across the Atlantic in an ancient boat. That was the voyage of 2009. He was a crew member and he also shot the film. And then Yuri sailed again with Captain Beale and the Phoenician in 2020, and we reconnected. And when he called me and said that they were dismantling the boat and rebuilding the boat for a museum on the banks of the Mississippi River, and that he'd like to introduce me to Mike and Betty LaFontaine, I said, wow, I'm most interested. Needless to say, the 30,000 nautical mile journey of the Phoenician is a wonderful affirmation of two other very important voyages, the voyage of Lehi and the voyage of the Mulekites, a wonderful affirmation of that journey across the Atlantic Ocean and landing in North America. And more than that, Captain Beale demonstrated that the materials and the technology of 600 BC were more than sufficient to build a really stable seagoing vessel, as Lehi did and as he did. And that's a wonderful affirmation. And the fact that it's now going to be available for people to visit and to relive that experience, not only of Captain Beale and his intrepid crew, but to reimagine the voyage of Lehi and the Mulekites and the many other migrations across the Atlantic Ocean that we know took place.
The ship was based on a wreck that was found in the 1990s. And if these ships were sailing through the Strait of Gibraltar, then surely they would have managed to get out into the Atlantic and beyond.
This is the Phoenician replica ship that arrived here just a few minutes ago. It has traveled 6,000 miles across the Atlantic to get here in Miami.
This is my wife, Betty Redden.
Yate.
I'm Mike LaFontaine. We are Native Americans here in Montrose, Iowa, restoring a relic of the Phoenician history.
The entire stern of the boat laying on the floor, loaded out of a container.
Looking for areas that would be shallow enough back before the time of Christ to have walked across the river.
My name is Brian Nettles, and I'm here with Arish Ben Sassi.
Hello, Brian. Thank you for having me today.
No problem. I'm glad that you were able to make it out here. Now, you're from Tunisia, right?
Exact. From Tunisia, North Africa, from Carthage. I'm the president and founder of a non-profitable association, Didon of Carthage. We started at 2014. I told you that in Jerba, in the south, it's an island in Tunisia where a lot of Jews live there from the destruction of the first temple.
When were they established?
Just after the destruction of the temple of Jerusalem. So they left Jerusalem and came, especially Cohen and Levi.
You had Jews that were living there before 600 BC.
Yes.
And the interesting aspect about it is that the Phoenicians were known to sometimes rescue those that were in distress.
Yes.
And so it made sense to me when I heard this that when Nebuchadnezzar came and ransacked Jerusalem, that the friends of Jerusalem were from Tyre and Sidon, and they would have taken them away and then took them to their friends and family up in Carthage.
Exactly.
And then they would have settled there, and so that's why you have a civilization there.
Exactly. Also, we have a very old synagogue in Jerba called Al-Ghriba, where every year there's a manifestation or commemoration. Okay, and in Al-Ghriba we can find part of doors from Solomon's temple.
So the doors are from Solomon's temple.
Are hidden in the temple of Jerba.
They're hidden in the temple. I'm saying this again because it's fascinating to me. So, wow.
It's amazing.
Solomon's temple was ransacked around this time, destroyed. And so some of the Jews carried portions of the temple with them when they were put onto the Phoenician boats of Tyre and Sidon and Byblos and went up to Carthage. Or I guess they could be boats from Carthage too.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, we have a yes.
In fact, it seems like it was just a super highway.
It's very
near. You had boats from all these
exactly.
Phoenician cities and Punic city.
So there's a woman in the story of this synagogue. Who is she? We don't know. So we don't know until now if she came from there. Who is she? Why we called it Al-Ghriba? There's a lot of stories about Al-Ghriba. And Al-Ghriba, we should know that the noun Al-Ghriba in Tunisian, this is the woman foreigner, because Tunisia is really have something very special with women. We found Carthage founded by a woman, Dido, and Jerba is marked by a woman, Al-Ghriba, who is the noun of the oldest synagogue in North Africa.
Wow.
We know that ancient Carthaginians went to America, but we don't have the proof.
It is in your oral traditions
Exactly.
that your forces, your ships went to America, but because it's not written down, therefore nobody
It was
can
destroyed.
prove it.
It was destroyed.
Yes, during the Roman takeover
Exactly.
of Carthage and the ransacking.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Everything was destroyed.
Yes.